me now. Yeah, watch me now. Can't keep me locked up anymore, yeah. Breaking through every single door. It's time to settle the score. This is the moment I've been waiting for. You ain't seen nothing like this before. Let me show you what it's all about. Yeah, watch me now. Yeah, watch me now. Watch me now. Yeah, watch me now. Oh, watch me now.
Haz, this place is crawling with Helix. I'd say be careful, but
You know that's not my style. Has to be it. Go on, Susie. You're up.
got my bag.
Aye. Always.
Told you we'd need extra guns. Oh! We can't keep this up!
You can't, it's too unstable. We don't know what it might do to you.
What I always say, Susie.
If you're in it with me,
You're in it for life. That one scratched the paint. Let's go on then! Yowdy! We could all use a little anarchy. Time to take what's ours. Coming through! Hazard here. Who called? Come on! Let's take out the rubbish. Boom! Tell me someone saw that! Let's show them something special. Pure dead brilliant. Out cold.
Mecha activated.
You can't stop me. Yes, won that one. The best defense. Stabbing. Come and get it, laddie heats. I'll give you a slap. Oi, oi.
Enemies in the doorway.
Tear it down!
Fall back!
Hold still, would you? Guns blazing, teeth bared. Shreddy! Thanks for staying put. You know I'm the best. Yeah!
Hello and howdy everyone, and welcome to the Overwatch Swiss Elite Series number 3. My name is Crumble, and I'm joined by the lovely Geo for our qualifying matches. We've got round robins going on at the moment, Geo, and today is Ajax Count versus Enter Team Name.
Yes, that'll be our first matchup for tonight, and it's brilliant to be back into an EU tournament where you get to see a lot of the up-and-coming talent from EU. And a moment in time in Overwatch esports where there's even more opportunity for said talent, with the upcoming relegation demotion system coming in the next year of OWCS. A lot of these players will have a lot better opportunity to actually make it to the top of this esport, and tournaments like this help those players highlight their skills and improve on them, especially with the fact that there's also money on the line. There is a prize pool total of 1,000 Swedish francs. I had to remember which one it was, Swedish francs. Because we're the English broadcast, that's kind of the equivalent of like over, I think it's $1,100 roughly estimate. Obviously I've mentioned that we are the English broadcast. If you do want to check any of the other broadcasts, we have a German broadcast, which is on BIE_esports_alliance, and you've got some great casters there like Krista Rookie and our great friend Fursic as well. And if you want to catch the French stream, it's being streamed on Zarudi's channel on Twitch, and you can check that out there if you're looking for the French channel. But, ooh, Crumble, it's going to be a good night.
It is going to be a good night. I'm feeling great about Overwatch Esports. Like you said, we've got this new relegation system. The event in Stockholm, we were just talking about it before we went live. We were both there together. It was a fantastic event. Great vibes all around. Everyone is. I feel like we're at this turning point for Overwatch Esports, and there's very much a consensus about this. So I think nothing but up. These players can come and play in these kind of events where they're especially more tightly region based, and you can be looking at teams there's a lot more opportunity to just get in and play at the highest level, which is just exactly what we want. The way that Overwatch League used to work, the old format, the buy-in, maybe it worked for a couple years, but
Yeah, I think when we look at like the talent that we'll be looking at like tonight and for the tournament, this is the next wave of Overwatch players in terms of EU. Now we don't need to talk about EU's total performance when it comes to
we don't need to bring that up. That's okay.
That's fine.
Twisted Minds, they did well. They did.
Yeah, Quartz
better.
with the entire EME region on his back.
Quartz, if my life depended on a hit scan player, I think I would let Quartz be that hit scan player. Because goddamn, yeah, very impressive stuff. Also just from the rest of Twisted Minds. I believe they won against Shock, who were running the Junk Queen composition. Obviously, we saw mostly Malga. Shock were running that Queen, and Twisted Minds said, you know what? We're down 2 maps. Let's run this. I think they ran the Zarya. And it worked, and then I don't think they fully reverse sweeped. I think it was maybe 2-1, but they did bring things
briefly, yes. It was a bit of a Hail Mary. It did work out, and you have like segued brilliantly onto like the meta. And obviously we've just seen the best teams in the world play in a very Moga heavy composition, and I believe that was before the patch that Moga was buffed. So here's thinking we're probably going to be seeing a lot of Moga, but what does that mean? Well, you're likely going to be seeing Moga paired with Reaper, paired with either an Echo or a Genji. There's a little bit of leeway there on which way you can go, obviously with the Juno and the Brig. Reason why you have the Reaper, you TP in, follow up with your Moga, then you're there with your Moga who slammed in, then you just follow up on the damage. Overall, it's a very ultimate dependent composition, which means you have to be very in the know of what each member of your team is doing. So team synergy, that's going to be the most important part this weekend with this series.
Yeah, and it's about understanding your ultimates as well. We saw lots of creative usage of these ultimates. I know, we saw Malga a lot of times, but I think one prime example, thinking back to Stockholm, was I believe it was Team Falcons had some sort of insane Hanbin, like 1 versus 3 cage, where he popped it and he just had the cover and he got 3 kills. And, it is Hanbin after all, but a lot of the time we're seeing, obviously Juno, her ult is extremely powerful, arguably the most powerful ult in this meta. They nerfed it down in terms of the healing, but the damage is still very, very strong. We've done the maths on this, Geo. A one Reaper ult, just one, is normally 250 damage per second. No, yeah, 250 damage per second with the boost. With the Juno boost, it's 250 damage per second, which is a little bit crazy. And then when you think we're in a meta where we're also seeing Echo alongside this Reaper, we saw plenty of times, and we will probably see the Juno, the Echo copies the Reaper. They both go with Blossom, and that is 500 damage per second in the orbital ratio. That's terrifying.
Yeah, now obviously that's a very ult-heavy fight that we're like talking about, and that we will see. That we'll see a lot of ult-heavy fights. But yeah, if you're caught with 2 Death Blossoms, one being an Echo copy, one being the Core Reaper, and an Orbital Ray, it is 500 plus damage per second. That is insane. That's a tank per second. A whole tank per second.
That's a whole
maybe an older tank. But it's an incredible amount of damage, and it just goes to show how important those ultimates are. However, if you use those free ultimates and the other team didn't, then you're in a really tough spot where the next 2 fights are going to be rough for you because they can rotate their ultimates so well. It became very easy to kind of judge on the highest level what team was going to win the next fight, purely based off of what ults were ready. And if they over-ulted, very quickly became, okay, they over-ulted, they won that fight, but now they need to take a neutral back up when the Orbital Ray comes in. So, very push and pull, like we've said a lot here. A lot of people kind of think back to GOATs and the way the GOATs was push and pull, and also very ultimate heavy. So there is similarities. However, I would classify this more as like a Mauga dive, really, than like a brawl or a rush, because it's all about getting in with the slam, following up with the damage in the neutral fight before those ultimates come out.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, definitely. I think like you say, you've got that setup, especially with the Reaper TP, the Mauga engage, also with Echo and Genji. I'm glad we're seeing a bit of Echo and Genji. Especially Genji. It's been a while. Yeah. Maybe it's not in the meta that we'd like to see him in, but seeing a bit of Genji, because a lot of the time we talk about in Dive Mirror, we talk about why do people so often play the Echo and not the Genji in the past. It's because Echo has that burst, but Genji, with the deflect, with being able to get in and out pretty quick with dash, he actually has pretty good sustain in the mid fight. There's a lot that Genji can do, and especially the higher you get, the mechanics increase. Genji is a lot more lethal. But yeah, so there's that dive aspect of it. But I think when we talk about the ult usage, that is what kind of leans us towards the go. I think we should be getting into our match pretty soon as well.
Yeah, that brings us on to our teams for today and what they will be playing. Of course, we saw some Junker Queen stuff in OWCS, so there's still room for flexibility. So will these teams play into the meta or find their own? First team we have is Ajax Count. Hopefully very low. We don't want to see Ajaxes if we even see Lucio's this weekend. They've got a fairly large roster of folks there. Might not see everyone today, but we'll find out. We've got Not Lexia from Finland, who will be on main support. Ares, Flurin, and Yui from Switzerland, all DPS players. You've got Zox and Yami, both Saudi Arabia players, support and tank respectively. Zox, I do want to point out, did win the Saudi E-League Major 4 not too long ago on the team of Vision Esports. So a little bit of glory to that name recently. And you have Jaspi as well from Sweden and Depsy from Finland. Depsy have recently cast in the Nordic Esports League as well. Their team came 3rd place, so a very strong roster based off of that as well. Then you have Enter Team Name. That's their name. Enter Team Name is their
an
actual name.
One.
Overwatch players. What can I say? You've got the player of Eclipse from Austria who'll be playing DPS. Eclipse is a player who's been in the scene for quite a while and has been in the kind of like tier 3 tier 2 scene for a moment. Coming out of like certain teams, you will recognize Team Peps from contenders. Drini and Swako are from Switzerland. They'll be your support lineup. You've got Tama from Austria, who'll be playing Flex, so might be flexing between all the roles. You've got Erekek from Spain on tank, and Zydra Austria on DPS, and of course Erekek. I don't need to really talk about too much because it's obvious. Player who's been in Tier 2 scene a lot, OWCS Stage 2 as well with Ataraxia. So two very strong teams, and when it comes to like on paper which team looks best, I'm not actually sure. It could go either way.
It could, yeah, I think so. And we're in a very, you know, we've said it's this meta. I know we keep saying it. It's very push and pull. You tend to see a lot of back and forth, even when you know, a team is in a deficit. Those ultimates are so valuable. You can really push back. So it's going to be a bit of a tug of war. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a tug of war, Gio.
Yeah, definitely will be. And just looking at a little bit of the history there from Erekek, again, close to my home, CGL Season 12, champion for the PC League on Grill Masters.
Grill Masters.
Yeah, so it's a familiar name to both of us. Also won the Clash, which was the kind of Tier 2, Tier 3 tournament at the start of this year. So big players here, like I said, that have experience at this level, and probably looking forward to this next year, thinking what's my 2025 going to look like, and what better way than to cement the start of that with a first step here in this series to show off what you're capable of and to start off the next season with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, this is really for players like we're describing here, these really talented tier 3 and 2 players that are going to be able to have such a better shot at making it to the highest level of the game. It's all about dedication, really, and it's all about putting yourself out there. Lots of events, lots of teams. And we've already, you know, we're reading, you're discussing about all this history, and clearly all these players are already very well versed in tier 2 and tier 3. So I imagine that things will be pretty back and forth, and yeah, we're going to start things off with a bang.
Yes, we're just waiting for the players to get ready up now, and obviously we need them to be nice and good to go. Yeah, EU talent, we're on the lookout for that in this region. Obviously, our top 2 teams had a bit of a struggle getting used to the meta, but I mean, next year is going to be a whole... EU comes back next year. 100% EU comes back.
Sure.
I mean, there's been some great moves already in the kind of pickups of teams. Ex-Oblivioni recently picked up Boomed as their coach, which I'm now actually looking at Ex-Oblivioni as not a team that I just personally enjoy because I like all their players and I've casted them a lot. I actually think if any year's the year for Ex-Oblivioni, I think next year.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, Boomed is a fantastic coach. I think I did somewhat meet him at Epic Land, the one that I did go to, and saw him live.
Yeah. Yes, you would know Boomed because you would have heard the word triangle more than you ever have in your life. But focusing down here into this matchup, we have Nepal Sanctum as the first map and sub-map here. And of course, we are seeing, of course, what we were expecting to see in terms of like the picks so far from both teams. Of course, the TP from Eclipse they'll probably be swapping off. I don't imagine Zydra will be staying on Sombra. If they do, of course, EMP will be very effective at wiping Cage off the board, which we saw a lot last time Mauga was meta. So if they are going for this, it's going to be a good like counter to it.
We did actually see a bit of Sombra in OWCS this weekend. Like you say, it's good at disabling that Mauga, as the stalemate does begin here, trying to take control of this high ground. And that's something you don't really get with the Sombra, is the range of the stickies that Echo can provide.
Exactly, yeah, the kind of burst poke damage especially helpful in the engage there as he roll in forward, but backing up there.
Oh, that's a good pick. Brig out the fight, inspired down, no passive healing available, and everything just trickles away so quickly.
Yeah, Ajax at first had a good kind of moment where they backed up a little bit to try and like survive that initial push, but once not Lexi goes down, that's so much healing from the Brig gone. It just gives so much power here. And on the side of Enter Name, they're really coming up to that EMP quickly. Zydra might just shock the side of Ajax here.
Yeah, that EMP is going to be really, really useful, possibly shutting down the ult charge of Zox really close to that solar as well. Big slam coming in, lots of damage, and Yami cleaning up the back line, decimated, and it's going to be back to the spawn room.
Yeah, and Ajax get control of it. There is a Blossom here from Eclipse who does want to try and keep it. Gets the trade, but you've lost your Mauga, and now you are down in ultimates. That's something they probably wish they held on to here, especially coming into next fight where Ajax have their orbital ray. Swanko will get it. However, if it's tracked well enough, they should know that Enter Name don't have it yet, and they could take a nice quick fight here with only the one ult used.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, just kind of playing with the idea. They bring out the solar beam to start Ajax. They're going to be using that copy as well. Big EMP, all 5 members caught. Lexa with this rally, it's an important ultimate here to sustain them through this big damage as the ray comes down for Swacko. It's the rally versus the orbital ray.
Wow.
But that's big there from them. I mean, we have to talk about Lexa there. At one point, charging up rally so quickly, 80% to Drini's 40.
Yeah, not only that, went in a brilliant position where behind them they were just getting so much cleave damage and just help, you know, clean it up with the cage there. Obviously getting the better of that ultimate fight. You have a nice big aggressive push.
I mean, yeah, you lose your Brig pretty early on, but you know, make back those kills with your good ultimate usage. They're just really buying time here.
Yeah, you're really seeing that Zydra needs to like back up in a lot of these fights, and it is meaning that there's one less, you know, player on the board for Enter Name, and it's giving them a disadvantage in these brawlier fights as Ares and Nox come up to their ultimates quite quickly. They're basically looking for Drini to get this rally off.
Yeah, here comes the rally. It's going to be good against the copy that we don't really see too quickly coming out here. Good cleanup there from Eclipse. Yami still in this fight, and that Mauga can supply quite a lot of sustain, but not as many Hellfire shotguns as Eclipse. Finally, a bit of momentum here for Enter Name.
Yes, the sun disappears behind the Blossom, eclipsed by the damage, and now a fairly good position. However, they're the attacking team with 97% is going to come into this with the orbital ray. Swacko does not have this ready. This needs to be a massive EMP from Zydra to stop them from capping this point.
Yeah, and this copy's really valuable in the orbital ray as well. That's a great early pick onto Zox out of this fight. The orbital ray is still up, so they've got a lot of healing. They're going to be able to get the point flip with that pressure. Here comes the EMP out. The Brig low. Lexa taken down by Zydra. It's a big pick. Can they come back from it? Well-timed copy here from Ares. Copying the Juno in the time they need it most. Here comes the cage as well, splitting off Lexa from the rest of their team. No support available. And as this overtime ticks down, it's only Erikek that can even touch.
Yeah, and it was a good effort. I do think that Zydra was a little bit concerned about when that EMP needed to be used and perhaps didn't use it as quickly as they could have. I really like the Echo copy there onto the Juno, especially since you had lost your Juno at the start of that fight. It means obviously you've got the healing and potentially even another orbital ray. You don't see those copies often because there are much better options in most scenarios, but in that specific scenario I like that for the sustain from Ares. And so far it does seem like there's a little bit more comfort on the side of Ajax in terms of their like composition. Obviously they're playing the more standard comp compared to Enter Name, who are still trying to find where their strengths lie with the Sombra variant and getting those hacks and eliminations, especially if you can find a squishy in the backline. That'd be great. Much harder when there's a Brigitte on the field.
Yeah, I mean, that early kill in that previous last fight onto Zox is really the best case scenario for you. As a pretty early fight coming out here, lots of damage. Already using the shout. Yami gonna have to back off. This hack is able to apply a decent amount of pressure, actually. Has to back off onto point very low. The follow-up is there. Erikek finds 2. The front line gone, and now it's just time to dismantle the rest. A good kite there. They took a lot of damage, but they managed to swing back in.
Yeah, and what's really helping for them when they win these first fights, we saw this on the first sub-map as well, is the fact that Zydra's ultimate is being built so quickly that you have that tool in your arsenal immediately.
Farming off Yami.
There is no ultimates on the side of Enter name yet, either, or on Ajax either, so they really have a free fight win.
Yeah, have it in the bank, in the tool belt, ready to go. Another 5-man EMP. I mean, you might question the Sombra, but you can't argue with the results. Just a huge EMP every single time it comes onto the field.
Exactly. When something's working, there's no question about fixing it. So they're in a good spot, and it has given their own players like Erikek, who's coming up to Cage, and Eclipse coming up to Blossom, to pair with these orbital rays, because this next fight will be all about the orbital rays. But on top of that, it's about what ultimates you can use. On top of it, Zox goes down.
Oh, that's a really bad moment there from Ajax's. Zox caught out very early. Yami manages to get a clip, so there's a bit of a... they're just getting this ball rolling even more. They're forced to back up. They have the cage. They're going to try use it defensively as well as the orbital ray. Trying to keep Erikep up, just pumping the heals in. Trinity's coming back with this rally if they need it, but the offensive pressure here from Ajax might be a little bit too much with that copy, with the Blossom ready to go, but actually, Yu's taken down. Eclipse has the Blossom of their own. This might be the saving grace. Here comes the EMP. They're back with a lot of pressure, Gio. It's back and forth. Eclipse, the Blossom. The DPS line of Enter Name is doing so much to keep them here in this fight, keep the percentage on this point ticking up, but now Yami's back and has blood in their eyes. Yeah.
It was messy, but I really want to harken back to Ares, who chose Mauga to copy. It's much better for a situation where you need sustain, and Ares recognized, we need Zox back. We need his orbital ray. So they went the Mauga to give their team that cardiac overdrive, done that, and built the time. Now, though, of course, eyes are going to be on Yui on how they get this Blossom off, because they can really use this to keep control.
No, I mean, that's a good entry pick. Don't find anything with the Blossom, but that's okay. Trade onto Ares, which is a little bit worrying. That's a lot of your burst damage. Erikek's going to be a little bit freer in this fight to kind of hold that front line. They're going to be forced out, though. Once that ball starts getting rolling, especially in a composition like this, with, good pushing, you're able to just kind of take everything. Take all space.
Yeah, riskier Blossom there to kind of TP in so deep into the backline definitely paid off. If you don't risk it, you don't get the biscuit. Zydra will become up to EMP, but that's about the only tool, especially when if you can get this rally off before EMP, then you're in a much better spot. So you want Lexia to recognize that it's very important for them to get ulting first.
Well, there it comes. Alongside this EMP, we have the orbital ray coming out. Both support ults actually here from Ajax coming out just for that sustain. And yeah, I think that's exactly what you expect there. EMP comes out and
EMP comes out and Lexa went low. I think if they were a little bit smart on that target priority, they might have been able to take out the Brig and then kind of away from the orbital ray. However, in a situation where they've got 93% control, they have their orbital ray now. So in this next fight, Yami's going to have to do a lot of work with this cage to try and make up the difference.
Yeah, well, there's a deep one. Yami is taking a lot of damage, but does actually get the Mega as well. Here comes the other cage on the side. Erikek not able to really find much with that. I think it was an early win there, and they're just happy to use their ults here, Ajax, and clean things up. Copy onto that Reaper. And, yeah, they get the flip. It is pretty close. Touch does come here from Zydra, but I don't really know if they can pull it back.
Yep, I think a great decision made from Yami. It was risky to charge in so deep there with the cage, but it has worked for the moment, but it suddenly turned because there's enough time for Swacko to get back with the orbital ray that the fight was just secured. Very good stall, just keeping that point alive. I think one of the most key moments there was the fact that the point switched during that initial fight near the Mega. The fact that the point switched gave so much time to play with, and they were able to get back. So very small decision that compounded into success there. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing for both these teams. They're players that are taking risks that on the face of it look like they're a bit too risky, but then they pay off, and it's just really exciting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Zydra is a key player to look out for here. The Sombra pick, we said, right off the bat that it's not as standard, but when you're charging up EMP so quickly and you're providing such good utility, like being able to touch the point and keep that pressure up on the objective. It's really, really good. We're going to see the stalemate come out here on this high ground. Ares a little bit further behind. Look for those stickies. Already a lot of damage.
Yeah, they've got so much room to poke here, but Ares is playing it close because they see that Erikek's
There's
so
the beam!
low.
Erikek gets taken out by the beam. That is a lot of assists because that was a lot of teamwork there from Ajax. So good at quickly going in and finding that aggressive push.
I mean, you just saw the absolutely honed in focus there on Erikek, and for once we have a bit of a reversal. This is the first submap where we've seen the side of Ajax actually win the initial fight, and that has meant that Zydra isn't building that as fast to the EMP. It's given Zox a lot, Yami a lot of space to work with to get theirs up and rolling, however forcing them into this brawlier fight which they would prefer.
Yeah, the Sombra does pretty well in these close quarters as well. Easier to hit the virus. In that small room there, it's difficult to really survive very well. Yami does find themselves in the grave. That's a good trade for them though. They have the orbital ray here on the side of Ajax if they want it. That's a really good pick onto Ares from Swaku. Here comes the ray. Here comes the Blossom into the enemy ray. Gonna see the rally coming out as well from Lexa. It is still a pretty even fight, but now we're seeing the final cleanup. It's a good flip though.
Yeah, the Blossom just doesn't match up to the Orbital Ray unless you like catch them completely off guard. I do like how they're playing it, forcing them into that brawl. Like you said, easier to the virus, but also the spread on the Sombra is in a much better position. And now if you've just forced them in, you've got the EMP to work with. You've lost your Juno.
Oh, yeah, that's such a good try. And that's something that the Sombra just can't do, right? In that situation, you could absolutely so easily burst down Amalgo with those Echo cooldowns. Lots of Oz being thrown onto the fray now. Here comes Erikek's cage, displaying off the entire team from Ares, who's completely alone. Lexa taken out, and yeah, alone Zydra can completely take advantage of that. And it looks like the point continues to tick here for Entonate.
Yeah, I think I've been quite complimentary of Ares' choice of duplicate. I think in that moment, Reaper might have served them a bit better. It was damage that they were needing, not really sustain, and then Ares got caught off completely by the cage anyway, so it was a bit unlucky in that front. However, the main thing is, because Swacko went down that first fight and they then won it, they now still have Orbital Ray. It will be followed up with Zox's, but if they go faster, they've got a fight win.
That's exactly what they're going to do, Geo. Orbital Ray costs. But a really fantastic kite here. They're actually not going to take this fight, Ajax. They're going to give a little bit of time to breathe. Yami screwing up their charge and sliding into the point by accident. I don't think that was meant to happen, Geo, and that's going to force a reset here.
Yeah, I don't see what they would have looked to gain from that. I think maybe they just got misplaced, but now you see Eclipse deciding to be a little bit sneaky here. They could catch Yui off, but if they're not careful, they'll be fighting right into this Orbital Ray.
Yeah, Zox puts that down, and very Drenny. Here comes the Blossom from Eclipse, manages to find Ares, gets taken out. Yami, so good at finding those trades in the mid-fight. This EMP getting closer and closer from Zydra. A lot of pressure on to build that up. Gonna be able to find the pick onto you with the help of Drenny. Has the EMP if they really need it. Here it comes onto 3. The rally from Lexa is gonna be able to sustain them through. Yami is so low on a sliver of health, but can't sustain any longer. The Sombra is unorthodox in this composition, Geo, but it managed to be their saving grace. And Entoname do manage to get this first map.
Yeah, any moment that someone is just slightly out of position, that Sombra will find you. Zydra will be there, and you saw that in the final fight also. And then they could just go in with the EMP because Rally was just finishing up at that point. So I'm liking both sides. Obviously, it's not the cleanest fights. There's a lot of mess, but the players in total understand how each other want to be playing, and they're playing into their own unique strengths, like with the Sombra. So I'm liking the different style there. The EMP didn't always find the best value, but when it did, it was the determining factor of winning a fight. So I would say it really is a toss-up between how much can Ares get done with duplicate versus how much can Zydra get done with EMP. EMP is maybe more consistent because once you duplicate, you still do need to play the video game a little bit. You still need to like get that next use that character and have that kind of flexibility as a player. Whereas with the EMP, you know, you've already done the damage, you've applied the debuff, and your team can follow up as much as you can as well. So It's really a toss-up between Ares' ults and Zydra's EMPs, but right now, Enter Team Name just have a little bit of an advantage. I think, really, the last point probably would have went the way of Ajax if Swacko hadn't died first in
Yeah.
that fight when they were recontesting, because while it looked bad for Enter Team Name, they were still able to win the fight, which is an impressive feat, by the way. Don't
Yes.
don't think I'm not saying that. But it meant that they still had Orbital Ray, which absolutely was not their plan. They were going to use Orbital Ray in that
Yeah,
fight.
definitely.
And the fact that they still had it for the next time meant that they could have a good kind of roll into the overtime and then into getting the point win. So it really went in their favor there.
Yeah, but we did actually see against that Immortal Ray there. I mean, Ajax actually kited it really, really well. They would have probably been able to swing back into that fight, throwing pretty heavy punches if it wasn't for Zox falling pretty early in that team fight, which is really unfortunate. The Juno is such a big part of the composition, especially with the Mauga paired with the speed. It's really, really valuable. I really want to highlight as well this difference in Brig play, which is actually pretty impressive. We have I think Lexa, who not Lexa, who's been charging the rally so much quicker than Drini, to the point of having almost double percentages. We'll likely see maybe more of the Malga, maybe a bit of dive here on Torado, Gio.
Which would sound surprising, because you'd think, okay, maybe you know, we see the side of Enter Team Name get it more because, well, they're playing a bit more of a closer up, brawlier fight. But when you think about it, Ares is going to be using more packs than Zydra, right? Because they're going to be on more off angles, they're going to be taking a lot more damage, just generally, than a Sombra who's invis and isn't taking damage. So there is also the benefit that Lexa has in the composition as well, but you are right to point that out. Now, we're in Dorado, and oh wow, we've got some dive. We've got a brick and a backline here. Likely from both sides. I don't imagine Drini's going to be staying on Baptiste. Of course, now, Yuri's going to have the high ground here as the Ashe, going to be looking to just plinking that damage. With the D.Va, it's a lot more defensive than the Winston. However, Eric's going to have a lot faster engages and could be a lot deadlier as well.
Yeah, and I like Yui's pick of the Ashe as well. A bit more of that mid-range pressure that Eclipse can't really contest. You know, a bit more damage onto the tank. The Dynamites for the ult charge. Bob is a really useful, ultimate in this game mode as well. Just defensive positioning. So far, we're seeing, jumps and boosters being traded.
A lot of respect being given to the Widow of Eclipse, especially because of that range advantage.
You better give it respect. Oh, running the lobby red Eclipse, a lovely clean shot. Good anti-nade onto Ares though. Swaku getting good pressure there, and Ericek going onto the high ground. So they're finding a lot of momentum from that one pick, and that's what the Widow can do for you.
Swacko's hitting some nice shots there with the utility of Ana, and it's really helping the fights go in their favor as it's a cleanup on Isle Dorado, and they'll be just getting this point nice and clear here. There is going to be a retouch. Yami is coming up to bomb, so we'll be able to stall for quite a while. But again, it means Eclipse can just stand back away from the point and get so much done, and yeah, they decide to not even go for it. Back up, just play it on second.
I mean, they have to respect Eclipse just so much. What a scary Widow to be facing down. And yeah, we're going to be looking at these nanos pretty soon, which will be the deciding factors in this next team fight.
Yeah, Nano Monkey tends to be a lot more potent than, like, I suppose you'd be nanoing Ares here. Obviously, it means Ares gets to be a little bit more aggressive, but can still get taken down a lot more than a nanoed Monkey, so has to be a little bit more careful on the engage.
Yeah, looking for the jump from that low ground, missing the sleep, not available anymore. Ares pulling a little bit low. Using the primal for that bit of sustain. A big nade actually manages to secure that kill onto Yui. Really fantastic there. Swacko just doing so much on this Ana. Like you say, landing these cooldowns just gives you that extra edge and extra in.
Yeah, it's so much about landing those nades, and it is working. The Nano actually comes onto the D.Va, who is able to just bully her way through to Swacko and say, alright, we've done with these nades. Get off my point. Does lose mech and has to force bomb, and in the meantime, though, it has meant that Nano from Swacko, once they're back, is still up and ready, so they are looking to take this next point with an engage here, again, likely onto Ericek, goes the Nano, and then obviously Eclipse will get so much space from that.
Yeah, Lexa's got the rally though, so it's all about that timing of the rally. Lexa, a really good break player as we've seen so far. Good kite, and Erikek really can't find any value with this. The nano almost completely wasted, but now you're down your tank. So Ajax really need to do a good job at kiting here, and then coming back into the fight strong.
Yes, and especially when you're pushing back onto this long-range point against a Widowmaker, you want to be communicating who's on point and who is dealing with Eclipse. You cannot let them be free.
They have the rally for this overtime as well. That's a good pick onto Ares, who actually had the copy. That was a big ultimate there, Gio, for Ajax to use in their attempt at holding them back at second point. With the rally too, they have even more aggression at their disposal. Yami barely able to survive on this point. Anti-naded taken care of. And then Tanaim can keep rolling through this map. They are making clean work of Dorado, Gio.
Yeah, they've got a time bank of 4 minutes 20 rolling into third point, and if they continue this momentum, then it's going to be looking very scary for the opponents of Ajax. And now, again, high ground control, very important here. If Yui's not able to control this high ground, then Eclipse is just going to walk away with this point, and you can already see them angling. The Bob's going to give them time, can contest point or give an off angle. Especially when that nano comes in eventually onto Erikek. But with the Primal Rage, I imagine Erikek's just looking to go in hard here and just force out the backline.
Yeah, the nano from Zox is what we'll see first. Yami getting the nano again. Now that Ares is on that Tracer, not as good as a target. Going in with the Primal though, Erikek looking for that split onto the backline, trying to catch Lexa away from Zox, and actually does manage to. Now without your Brigitte close to rally, that was a big ultimate here coming up for... Oh, what a stick! Oh,
nice.
Zydra. Just showing us how it's done.
Yeah, and that's going to help them push forward here. However, Bob is just a massive thorn in their side. Not only the damage, but they just can't move this point. Meanwhile, you see Yami doing their best to just clear out this high ground like a high ground Roomba.
I like that, G. I'm going to use that. Good. High ground Roomba. Yeah, Erikek not able to really stay in that fight too well. They've got the rally. You know, you don't really tend to see people... you know, teams be able to fully go through this third point, with the respawns, and that's a good nade. Yeah, nice forward, aggressive position here.
Good cleanups. Yeah.
Yeah.
They understand that it's more about winning the 5 free HP on Eclipse. Oh my lord. Almost staggered completely. They'll be begging for that.
Oh my god!
Don't do it to them like that!
Oh.
And it means they can just push out. And by the way, we see Zarya from Erikek, who's just been bullied back to spawn. Yami says, I don't care about your counter pick, get back in there and swap again. And look at this aggression, they're just not stopping. And the idea between this hold is just to drain the time bank as much as they can in the meantime to get those 2 minutes down as far as they can.
Yeah, I do like the Zarya pick, although, to be honest, without that mobility, it's going to be difficult. Yami can still control the high ground just as well as before. But Eclipse switching on to Genji actually brings a lot of synergy with that.
Yeah, it means they can go aggressive as the Genji with the bubble. You see it right there onto Zox. It is working out so far, but they're losing members.
Yeah, it does find the backline Eclipse, but I think it's already too late, Gio. That frontline pressure from Yami is just so good. Especially with that Casti as well. They're really trying to build that damage, whereas, you know, you're seeing a lot more burst engagement with this Genji.
Yes, and obviously Eclipse is getting a lot done coming up to Blade. Swacko's slow to beam because Swacko's just getting caught out a lot. I mean, Zox just gets to sit back now and fire off these anti-nades. Another thing with the bubble is it will cleanse an anti-nade, so it is a saving grace in that respect. And Erikek's going to be able to just bully out Yami here, especially once they get to their grav and if they can demech them.
Oh, that's a demech for you with the
Eclipse
gone, and Eclipse actually does fall to that. Swacko again falls just seemingly, you know, off-screen damage that we're not really seeing. And that's really a telling story, Gio. Building up this beam is so crucial, and we're less than a minute to go now.
Yeah, they've done so well at burning down the time bank, and that bomb was well placed. It has delayed the inevitable, though, that this Blade is coming out. Rally is what is important here, because Rally's been built up in that meantime, and we'll be able to stop Eclipse, not only from the extra health, but that stun is very important against those Genjis who are looking to go in. The bubble from Erikek needs to be really well timed here to stop Eclipse from just getting stunned out.
Yep, here it comes, the Blade. Oh, and that's a good rally, but managed to find Zox in the chaos of it all. They've still got that armor health up, but it's just not enough. Now pushing forward, Erekek taking out Yui. And now they can hold on to this front line duo. They've got the grav to push them back. They've got the high noon from Zydra on that high ground. And Ajax don't really have anything to answer with it.
Yeah, they've got the whole kitchen sink
shebang.
here, and they're just throwing it at them.
Yeah, good grav, able to catch them on there, and the orbital ray as well to finish it up. They do find a couple trade Eclipse and Drenny falling. But yeah, D-Mech onto Yami as well. I don't think it looks good here for them.
No, yeah, there's no real retouch here. You've went onto ball, but right into high noon. Run for your life. You're like tumbleweed in the wind, and there it goes. But they have completed the map off of some good swaps, and then they were able to just kind of bulk up their ultimates into the final fight. However, with a time bank of 4 minutes 20 rolling into third point, it's absolutely not what they wanted to see at the end of it. And it does mean that the defense, now the attack of Ajax, has opened himself up to have a much better second half of this map. But they do need to finish it. That's the thing. They do need to get all the way and complete it, and then onto that next step. So there is now a win condition for the defense now of Enter Name. They just need to stop them getting to third point. So they can feel the corner behind them, and mentality-wise, that means you're probably going to see them, play it a little bit harder here. But with Eclipse on the defense here as the Widowmaker, and Yami not going on to Winston, my concern is how free Eclipse might end up becoming, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on Yui on actually matching the Widow and getting equivalent value, or Ares and trying to get to the backline, because it's going to be very slow moving for D.Va to get there, and by the time they do, you can see Erekek just very quickly going past very quickly onto the backline. It's much harder to play this slower moving D.Va on attack here, so a lot of eyes on Yui here to try and equalize against Eclipse.
Yeah, staring down Eclipse and a Widow duel, or when Eclipse on defense, I don't think I'd want to be there, really. It sounds a little tricky.
Interesting positioning.
Interesting spot. Preemptively reading the backline was going to rotate around that way. Nice little play there.
I do like it. Didn't work out there, but that sort of creativity will win you games, and I think Yui forgot. You can't go up there anymore. Going to the next setup here. Just trying to get this long range on this first halt, just to secure the space for their team.
Yeah, Recall Force already in that Racer duel on the high ground, forcing away Yami. And we can already see that the D.Va is really struggling to get in, but a headshot can do that for you. You don't need your tank to find the kills when you do it yourself. And that's going to be what Ajax need to get this ball rolling on their attack.
Yeah, it was great, little placements here and there to just position himself around that first hurdle. Gave Yui a great position. And there's not really going to be another touch unless Erekek just flies into it, which of course they're not going to. It means that they've got a brilliant time bank moving forward. And however, the Swacko's a little bit behind on the MP. So is he really going to have it too soon, maybe in the next fight? Unless they get a good nade off here, which it does land on Yami, forcing him back briefly. Zoxo is much more prepared. They're just looking to swipe this high ground and just give total control to themselves on the second point.
Yeah, there comes the nanny onto Yami. Here it goes into the back line, and that's two clean headshots there from Yui, who's doing all kinds of magic here on the Widow. On this attack, and I think, yeah, this D.Va, although we said doesn't have as much burst movement, we're actually seeing Yami being so good at controlling this high ground and really not letting Eclipse have any space, and yeah, Yui's been taking advantage.
Yes, and you see already angling onto third point, just trying to get some pressure at them. I mean, Erekek's going to be able to just fly back into backline here. Has Primal, will be able to force out Yui, who is going to have vision. Eclipse does not, which puts him at a major disadvantage.
Oh, the bubble! Oh, very, very close to finding their doom here. Eclipse gets taken out. Nice by Ares. A lot of pressure taken off of the backline too. Rallies from both sides sustained in the fight. Zox taken out. That's a really good kill by Hydra there.
Yeah, they've got good control here. Yami finding Erekek, that's huge. There's likely not going to be a saving grace here for the defense. You've got no tools for it. You've lost your tank. It's just going to be nice and clean, giving a massive time bank rolling into third for the side of Ajax. So, they still have their Diva bot. Oh, they looking to invest there. In fact, they got pressured hard.
Yeah.
Something away from them.
They're still touching. Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to drain this time bank as much. But dude, Zydra has gotten 3 kills in this overtime fight. What on earth?
Why have we not seen Zydra on Tracer more often?
Yeah.
My god. That was a dominant display. Almost actually turned it around. I was kind of thinking, they might actually do this. Similar time bank now with a couple more seconds for the attacking side of Ajax compared to what we saw from Enter Team Name. Now it does mean that they can try and do the same. That's a big pulse, though, to try and defend.
Yeah, you trade your life for it, but I think you're really happy with that result. Yeah, taking out the Ana, they have no heals. And look at that, Eclipse goes into the backline, finds the Widow, beautiful stuff. Now they can hold this frontline position pretty easily. It's forced out by the Brig, but still holding this front aggression. They really like to do this into them.
Unfortunately, they can't really breathe, right? The thing is, they know that this next fight is going to have a nano in it. The pulse is ready to burst down Erikek. It is looking scary. You want to try and put as much resources into Eclipse as possible. So you at least have something in your arsenal ult-wise to try and deflect what's about to happen.
Yeah, it's all on Eclipse for this upcoming Blade to be able to swing back at the aggression that Ares have at their disposal right now. The DMEC is huge. This is more time wasting here for Enter Team Name. Yeah. Here comes the Blade. Oh, good deflect there, not allowing the Sleep to get any value. And yeah, team follows up. Oh, there wasn't even a Blade. Oh,
that'll happen when Monkey just can cleave that electricity into all of you, and suddenly you're all having your hair stand up. You just get pushed into a situation where they're going to be much better off, especially with Eclipse being able to dash in and follow up on that damage from the Eclipse. That situation with the ultimates, it's been equalized with that. They took a completely neutral fight as a defending team. They're in a brilliant position. They've got so much choice ahead of them on how they decide to equalize. It's going to be a very heavy ult fight, but it's down to the DPS to use theirs better than the others.
Yeah, that's a really good pick, taking the Diva out during that remake animation. Here it comes, the Blades. That's a rally and a nano to Cassidy. Eclipse still swinging through, manages to find 2. Backline gone, hearts happy. Genji playable. We love to see it, yeah.
I mean, Eclipse was like, oh, what, the cards are stacked against me? Nice, hit me. Like, go for it. and they just went in with Blade, and they were just confident enough that they'd get it. Love it, yeah, go fish. And, well, they went fishing with a Blade, and didn't end well for the fish in the barrel, which was the side of Ajax. And they still have 2 minutes here, but they've used their nano. They're now looking for, like, a pulse bomb or a high noon. Both not really the best in terms of winning fights, but you can't lose Swacko there.
Yes, Swacko falling without able to raise a really big deal. You're forced to use the rally and the bob early in this fight to try sway things in your way. Try take an aggressive angle, but here's the thing. They can just back off here, Ajax, and re-enter this fight when they feel like it. Eclipse does find a pick onto Yui, but I think you're still in the positive here if you are Ajax. But now you lose your Diva mech, and now Erikek is back with the Ana to support them. Well, sorry, with Swacko to support them, so...
Yeah, as soon as Swacko went down, you saw the Blade, the Bob come out and the rally to try and defend. They will have the Orbital Ray, which there is no chance of an Orbital Ray on the other side. You're hoping that the High Noon would be enough to like hold space, but then again, that means that your Cassidy becomes very stationary in a fight where Blade might come up, where there's so much damage coming from the beam. This looks like it will probably go to overtime here.
Could well do. Zox charging up to this nano so close. This is really key here. High Noon out, not Lexa down. And now Zox really alone in this backline. One-man army trying to charge up this ult, support their team in the time where they need it most. It's really great aggression here. Enter name, every single time they get a kill, they don't press W straight away. They look for their positioning, they set up, and then they keep going.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? You lose your Brig, and even though the High Noon creates space, you see that playstyle of Eclipse, who's just in your face all the time, very aggressive, very self-confident. Well, now it's time for Yami to be self-confident, gets the Nano into the back line.
Oh, but in the other back line, a blade is loose, and Eclipse finds two. You trade out for Drini, but I don't know if that's really going to do everything you want it to. Yami finding their bomb on the point, not able to find any kills. So that Erikek with this Primal as well in this last fight, using it to chase down the Tracer of Ares. No recall on that Tracer. And Lucio back for the stall, but this was a fantastic defensive showing here. So much patience, and yet so much aggression here for Enternaim.
Damn. You love to see it, and they do hold it. They stop them going all the way. And now they're in a much better position. They're looking pretty good as a team. And I really like how they played that final fight. I mean, having Eclipse, who's such a confident player on the Genji, just gives you so much leeway to play with. And you kind of saw the kind of bait in. How many times did we see a fight like this one where they let them go in, but then there's just a little bit too much thinking, a little bit too much of nothing, and then suddenly decide just sweep into you and then like take you out with, you know, with Eclipse's blade or just with the pure neutral of the Tesla cannon. So it's great stuff so far from both sides, but I loved how Enter Team Name played that Dorado there.
Yeah, I think the Monkey's just better. I hate to be that guy, but I think the Monkey is just a bit better. I think when you're playing the Diva, Yami makes the Diva look very good, very strong. You can hold these high ground positions more consistently than the Monkey can. You have lower cooldowns on the boosters. You have the defense matrix. You have more to mitigate on paper, but the angles that the Monkey can take off, we saw so many times, like you say, they find one pick and then they go in the Monkey, they've got the sustain, they've got Eclipse on the Genji, and there's just so much that comes instantly onto your front line and onto your back line that you just can't really do anything about it. So, it's just more of a bursty playstyle. I think that's what we're seeing so far. I think Ajax, we've seen a lot of really good rotations, avoiding some orbital rays and pretty good fights where they're sustaining for quite a while. But I mean, damn, we're seeing a lot of hero plays here from Eclipse and Zydra and Erikek. It's just really impressive.
Yeah, and well, I think that's us for that match, right?
Oh.
I forgot to mention it is a first to two, so very clean side that I really liked Enter Team Name in total there. And their side just really work together. They're really like understanding of how they want to play, especially when they had that Sombra. Now, yes, the first map was much more back and forth, I would say, than Dorado. Dorado definitely had that back and forth feel, but there was a little bit more, I guess, order to the chaos that we saw initially on Nepal. I love how you have both Zydra and Eclipse on DPS, two players that when they go aggressive, like they're confident that they'll just stay in that fight and they don't get nervous about it and they will just pop off and find eliminations.
Yeah.
The backline as well, you talk about like how well Lexa was doing, but Drenny was also doing very well in terms of like keeping control there, especially against a diva who's like that's heavy damage on your shield, on your character, but being able to like alleviate that, like play the shield a bit more, player inspire a bit, really well done by the backline, and it really helped that you also have Eric Echo. I just think I preferred the Winston.
Yeah.
Like it just
Again,
faster
it's
engage, leave as
exactly.
well in the small room. I just preferred it overall.
Yeah. The Diva definitely has her place, but not here, not in this match. Not when Erikek is on Winston. Hell no.
Yeah, that is the thing, when you have a Genji following up for the dive, you've got the slash,
Yeah.
you've got the blade, and it's just classic Overwatch, right? We're not playing classic Overwatch today, but it is like classic Overwatch.
It feels obviously it goes without saying, but we are obviously still in the Swift stage. So if there's a time to, lose a game, reflect, bounce back, now is that time. You have opportunities to play more matches, really feel out the other teams and come back.
Yeah, this is one of those first to 2 matches where I can pretty confidently say if this was a first to 3, it might have been a reverse sweep. It could have been. Absolutely could have been. So, like, this matchup again, I'd love to see it repeated later in the weekend. But that's our first match over with on the broadcast. We could potentially get an interview with someone. We'll give Prod a moment to figure out if that's something we can do. And in the meantime, I liked that we got to see Dorado, and also the fact that in both this match and on WCS on the dive heavy maps, Mauga disappears, fades out of existence.
He's gone. It's almost like Geo, he doesn't exist, and it makes us all feel a little bit better, doesn't it? Makes you sleep a little bit better at night.
It makes you think of what upcoming dive character that might be added from a very awesome region of the world.
Okay, I don't know
do.
About
Whoa, hey, are you saying Scotland isn't?
No, I've been, and it is lovely actually, folks. If you're looking for a nice place to go to Scotland. It's very nice. Edinburgh's a pretty city. Glasgow, is also pretty cool as well. Lots of good food places in Glasgow. So.
Yes. Not a lot of people say the food of Scotland is worth going to.
But you guys
chicken tikka masala was invented in Scotland. That's all.
I didn't know that. That's
you didn't
very
know that?
Cool. I didn't know that.
But yeah, it was invented in Scotland. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yes, anyway, we're yammering, right? But Hazard
yapping.
is going to be added to the game.
Yeah.
In terms of the playtest, probably won't enter like a meta, especially since it's a block hero and there's Mauga. What happens to like Ram is like Ram just becomes the block tank versus the Mauga, so it's not the most engaging gameplay. But I'm really excited for Hazard. I love the fact that we have a Scottish hero, obviously. That just fills my heart with joy.
Yeah, I would love a proper London Roadman character. That's when I will feel represented. Is if we have a proper, proper English chav. That's what made me feel represented. But yeah, I think Hazard is gonna play a very interesting place in the meta because we've seen a lot of tanks that are between mitigation and brawling. We see a lot of mitigation brawling tanks. We've seen some hybrid in terms of the kind of brawling ground tanks and the dive tanks. You know, obviously the best example of that to me would be Diva and even Doom to a certain extent. And then you have Winston and Ball. They're your run-of-the-mill. They're your dive tank, right? They go in to the back. That's what they do.
Yes, and that's what we have to look forward to in the future. But right now we have teams in the hazard of battle fighting for a lot of prize money. I want to remind folks that the number 1 place gets 500 Swedish franc. Swiss franc. Swiss franc. There's a total of 1,000 Swiss franc to go around. And for our English viewers, in terms of US dollars, it's roughly like 1,100 to 200-ish. A lot of money on the line, right? Where this isn't just about ego, this is also about money. And we'll catch the next game in just a moment, folks. So don't go anywhere too far, get some snacks, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Hello and howdy and welcome back to the Swiss Elite Series number 3. My name's Crumble with Geo, and we just had a great match previously, but now we're coming into 2 teams, Swiss Capybaras versus Stellar Ambition.
Yes, brand new teams, brand new match. These 2 teams, well, one of them has a lot of names that have a lot of history in Overwatch, and the other team may be the underdog or may just have names that are going to surprise us today. So we'll start with Swiss Capybaras, who have a roster of Haluk from Turkey/NA on tank lineup. Along with Sky Sniper, also from the US on DPS, both of them play on Blinn College together. So I'm looking for that kind of set synergy that already exists between that DPS player and their tank to really, be an aid in this matchup here. You've got Graveyard from Canada on support, and you've got Monkey Happy from Mexico on tank. So a lot of Northern American kind of players here. I imagine playing on quite a heavy amount of ping as well. So that's another factor you might need to think about. And then you've got 3 Switzerland players. You've got Ducio or Ducho. I'm not really sure.
I think Ducio.
Ducio probably. We've got a bunch of lines on DPS who says the hit scan for Team Switzerland 2023. So I'm looking for a very high level of play there. And Luca also from Switzerland on the flag support. So a very strong roster, and considering the already existing connections from 2 of the players there, I'm expecting this to be a very strong team. Now, we've got Stellar Ambition on the other side. You've got the French player of Tsushi on Flex DPS, and you've got Vari and Andromeda and Aerial from Switzerland on Hitscan, support, and tank respectively, and then you've got Volg from Saudi Arabia on support. Now, Vari claims to be the 2nd best Widow in Switzerland.
Oh.
Now, we have a bunch of lines on the other side who say they were hit scan for Team Sweden 2023, a hit scan player. So I'm expecting hit scans to be forced here, even in meta.
I've never said
where,
this, but I hope we go to circuit. I've never said this before, but I hope we go to circuit.
Yeah, so we can figure it out. Find out for once. Maybe Vari can upgrade it to best Widow in Switzerland. Yeah,
come on, easy. Yeah, I mean, we did see a little bit of Widow in the previous map, and I think in OWCS as well, the Widow does actually tend to be played quite a lot in the dive mirrors. Inherently, if a map is a dive map, it will probably have some pretty decent sightlines. You think of Dorada, but also, first point, Jib, maybe, arguably all of Gibraltar has at least some areas with good sightline. So, I mean, a lot of dive maps have the potential for some really, really incredible hit scan. So hopefully we'll see exactly that.
Yeah, well, I do have some insider information. Looks like Ilios might be our first map, which of course means if we do fluctuate onto ruins, suddenly we might have a Widow showdown on our hands, and we might just get that, depending if we get to ruins or not. Either way, a more dive-centric map, with the submap obviously of Lighthouse being very high ground control orientated, so you're less likely to see the ground-based Maugas and more likely to see the monkeys come out. A little bit of Wrecking Ball. If you're even half as good as Junbin, then why not? Bring it out. Let's see it.
No one does ball like Junbin. Come on. We all know.
I think Spider-Man was created inspired by Junbin's Wrecking Ball. So, a little known fact.
Little known fact, we start out here, Gio, on your favorite map in the game, Ilios Well.
Woohoo! Ilios Well. Obviously, this does mean you can play a more ground-centric comp if you want. You can play the sides of the map and then kind of rotate onwards, but then you're out in the open. So you're probably still more likely to see teams fluctuate towards kind of divey, pokey compositions, and we are seeing those 2 ideas in a yin and yang right now. So you have the side of Capybaras here who have Sky Sniper on tank, which is not what they're put down as, but I do notice that Haluk isn't here, so maybe Sky Sniper is just kind of substituting in on tank right now, or maybe is their Winston specialist. But either way, they're going to have to play a little bit careful here, because you can't jump right into the waiting arms of a Mauga, because those arms are holding two massive miniguns, and they will shred you like cheese.
Yes, and there is a Reaper waiting right behind him as well. So, little scary. Already taking nice control of that back high ground, though, allows them to really set up the dive nicely. And this poor Mauga is stuck on the floor. Echo and Winston looking both at the Echo, not able to find them. Fantastic aim there from Sushi. The tracking on that beam to win that duel in a 1v2 is really, really impressive.
Yeah, you noticed how Sky Sniper recognized, okay, I need to play a lot more passive here.
Nades.
Massive nade!
Wow! Graveyard really living up to their name there and allowing their team to get a couple very crucial kills here. Just Aereo on the Mauga left to really touch, and looks like an immediate flip.
Fully off the back of that nade. And initially, like I was saying, you saw the Sky Sniper recognize that they had to play so much, more careful. It's part of the reason why they're now in Diva now. So they can get in the face of that Mauga and at least be doing something, which is eating the Mauga's healing when they use Cardiac Overdrive. But that kind of passivity kind of led into Shaco being able to get a nice angle. Sorry, onto Sushi getting a nice angle and taking him out, which you don't want to let happen again.
Not really. There comes the in. Forced out pretty much straight away. There goes the Nano onto the Reaper, walking in that front line, but no Wraith form! Nothing that you can do about that, and little bit of a slip on the Q button there as well. They do find a trade on that front line, and with Shaco now copying the Reaper, they might be able to make their way back into this, but no, that copy is dealt with almost instantly. Setting up for a nade here is Graveyard, but a good flight. Sushi gets out of that. Could have been dangerous for him.
I mean, they got away with a lot of mistakes there. I mean, 2 engages without proper communication from the DPS could have led to a disaster, and it has meant that they have much less ultimates in this next fight.
Yeah, already the copy onto the Diva from Sushi. Ducio does have this rally if they want to stay in this one. 60% and counting. This is really where you want to get your stall. You want to be able to get those extra percentage points. And that's a really fantastic pick you're looking for. Barco takes out the rally that they had online. Such a crucial ultimate in being able to kind of use your front line and really push forward. Managing to find Sushi, Ducio. They used the bomb too after losing the mech. Oh, you're kidding. Oh, I saw that rain in the stars, Gio.
And they didn't lose control of the point at any point in that fight, and now it's 90%, and you're in a bit of a panic stage where Aereo is going to go to the ball purely so that they can try and at least get a touch. They do have some ultimates that could win this, but with a Nano going to just being placed onto somebody here nice and early, it's going to be so much damage to push through.
Here comes the Blossom, but immediately taken care of. The Nano onto Chaco as well. You lose Graveyard here, but you still have this Blossom from Barcode, looking for that Juno on the left side. Vogue really all alone. Sushi taken out as well. A little bit of the mirror there. Great tracking there. Blossom comes out just to seal the deal. Fantastic stuff there.
One of the most common things that you're seeing in this meta, when it comes to especially when a Reaper is ever in meta, is hitscan players kind of struggling to adapt to that reality. There are hitscan players that can very easily pick up the Tracer or any other characters, but Reaper does tend to be a struggle. I mean, literally just look at Lip, one of the goats of the video game, in the world, in all time, struggling to play the Reaper, and you see that happening to Vari here. Bunch of Lines is getting a lot more done, but I don't think we'll be seeing Reaper on this map for some reason. The birds tell me we might be seeing some Widowmaker plays. We have World Cup player versus second best in the country. So ideally this would be number 1 and 2 retrospectively. So now, which one's going to get the best of it? This is an opportunity for Vari to really get their name out there and prove themselves here.
Definitely. And I was about to point out the Zenyatta Graveyard, making it into the kill feed before I can even mention their name. Zen is an interesting pick here. And you know what? This Queen that Aereo is now switched onto is pretty good against the Wrecking Ball, but that orb. and all those bullets coming towards us. It's a lot of damage.
Yes, and you can see that they're struggling to enter here, especially with the fact that the wrecking ball is just like up in your grill, and if you spend too much time looking at the wrecking ball, he gets value. If you spend too much time not looking at the wrecking ball, he gets value. It's a very tricky character to play into, especially if you're up against someone who understands the in and out game style of the character.
Warding away this front line, doing their job on Brig is Ducio. Sky Sniper really doing so much here on this ball, finding 2 picks. The DPS duo on this team supposedly so strong, but can't thwart Sky Sniper on this wrecking ball. Doing so much.
Yeah, and that's a baby diva and taken out by Graveyard. Massive stall. They're just not finding any footing here. And you just see, like, the waiting Widows waiting for that duel, but there is no duel. The rest of the team's just, like, bullying them apart. And, like, having the Discord orb from the Zenyatta put onto, like, a target that's getting pile-driven, followed up with a Genji dash, that's devastating. That's a lot of damage up front and center, and that's what they're aiming for.
Good body shot followed up there by Sky Sniper, taking Vari out of the yet again. And you've got to question, what do you even have to counteract this ball? Now popping the rally, you have the stun, maybe to be able to catch this ball off guard. But there comes the Transcendence. Graveyard swooping in, supporting their team, even finding a kill and on Andromeda as well. So look at this forward hold as well. The rally from Ducio. They've got the mines as well here. Ducio does find a trade involved, but with this Blade Online too, they just have so much that they can throw at the wall, ward them away. I mean, that was one of the quickest rounds of trial.
Yeah, we so much hype about the Widowmaker players, and it turns out that they were very much a non-factor in that one.
Yeah,
they're just the core of like a Zen ball Genji just getting the follow up, and even gets play of the game off of the damage done. Incredible style here, and Graveyard is a player that we saw like be like a winning factor, not just on the Zenyatta, but with the anti-need in the first map on Well as well, to turn fights around. Having a flex support who can pop off to that level is so valuable. It's almost invaluable how valuable it is, and it's something that's going to really help the team in winning this weekend. And so far, I mean, they looked clean. They looked kind of untouchable.
Yeah, I think the first round was a little bit more back and forth. They definitely looked better on the dive, and yeah, like you said, big anti-nades and stuff like that. But yeah, that second round, was there even I think there was maybe 1 trade, maybe 2. I don't think there were any deaths in that round that I can really think of that impacted them. That's what Yeah, but that's what you get as well with a composition like that, with that centered around Wrecking Ball, is that it tends to be a lot more self-sufficient and a lot more focused on the individual play. If you lose one player, your ball has mines, has the slam. You can still go in, you can still make really aggressive plays, even when you're down members of your team. Now we're going, looks like, onto a very different map, King's Road.
Yes, and Stellar Ambition are hoping that they've got just a little bit more than just ambition as they try and equalize here in this first to 2. Of course, means it is match point to Capybaras, and they'll be looking to close this out as quickly as they can and cement themselves a team to watch out for the rest of this weekend. Of course, money on the line, ego on the line, and a season in 2025 that is going to be even more competitive in tiers 2 and 3 to try and get to those top spots. It's all on the line here in the Swiss series, and it takes us to London. And as much as you want to give us a fun fact, Crumble, the fact of the matter is we are going to be seeing Sky Sniper on the Mauga, and preferring to play a little bit of Pharah. We'll see if it sticks. Probably not. The defense here going for a bit of a classic. Being like, you know what? We don't like playing Mauga. We do like getting bullied, though. If they get anything done with this Reinhardt, I'll be impressed. Now, Rein Shield, when put up against a Mauga who's using Cardiac Overdrive, is effective. But that means you're not doing anything either. It's kind of the same thing as Diva. if not much riskier, because you then would need to charge out if you want to run away. You're really looking for like good walls here, but the fact that there's a Pharah here, so much pressure on Vari to hit these shots.
Oh, that's a great push though. They wait for that backline to start the rotation, take Ducio out. Big charge as well onto the Mauga. Sky Sniper's quite low and in a pretty vulnerable position. They are on a bit of a counter-rotate, though, and with the Juno still up, Graveyard is able to keep their tank alive. Sky Sniper, oh, great wall there from Sushi, splitting off Sky Sniper, not allowing him to get over to his Juno for the support. Yeah, I mean,
they understand how to play that.
Yeah, so far, good coordination, but, you know, you worry about the Rhine just exploding.
I mean, yeah, but if you know how to play the map to that regard, and they had great movement and coordination there, the issue is, they now know the play. They should be playing away from this hotel now. You see the waiting for anti-nade. That's a devastatingly good one. No follow-up yet, though.
Yeah, no follow-up yet. Holding this aggressive position here.
And yeah, Dooku goes down.
Yeah, they're giving up a tick as well.
That's fine. I think they understand that they can give up like a tick to win a fight, especially since they got really taken by surprise by the anti-nade there. They did well to kind of like keep it together and still like win out the fight by finding Dooku. However, we've got Widowmaker on the high ground and no one can contest this.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, when you look at the end of that fight, very, very split positioning. And it is much harder to group up on this Rhine composition. Rhine struggles. He doesn't have that as much invulnerability and sustain as Malcolm does.
Yeah, that fight solely was missing a reset from the side of Ambition. They could have just taken a little bit more time. They could have given up a second tick as well if they just needed some cooldowns back. But they continued to take the fight, and that's where it went wrong for them.
Yeah, there we go. Barrage coming in from Chaco, and just like you say, Gio, it is a dive comp. Sky Sniper dives in on the Mauga, finds two, absolutely shredded down, but a lot done on point. Bit of a stall, couple of headshots. Sushi's doing as much as they can. Using the Blizzard, I imagine they're going to be switching off. If not, I mean,
yeah, even if you're switching off, like that's an ultimate that can get a lot done with. And yeah, sure, you're going on the Echo. That's fine, but like you could have won a fight with that Blizzard rather than throwing away. Anyway, but now the Echo, that's going to really help against Chaco. Obviously, Echo much better at dueling out the Pharah than like the constant poke. So going to be looking to just force them out of the sky unless they get clipped out of the sky by a bullet as walls are up here.
Yeah, forced away though. That's really good. Shatter onto point, finds two. Sky Sniper down, has the cage that they can use with this orbital ray. It's a lot big spacing here though from Vari. That high noon doing as much as it can, but yeah, you can't reach into that cage. Aereo and Andromeda just can't help him at all. Couple trades here, but it just looks like it's inevitable until the Capybaras make their way onto the third point.
Yeah, it was good high noon, but like you'd also just use your Shatter and your Rally, so by the time it's up, they just walk on you. And they win that fight. There really isn't a contest here. Well, I didn't think there would be, but a massive slip up here.
Yeah, and a really good touch, to be honest. And that was basically all she wrote for that point. I'm really surprised Capybaras weren't able to get it.
Well, I am, considering where the Widow went. A little bit. I think they thought they had third point already, but has swapped onto the Cassidy, and that is going to help against the Echo, as well as just like a lot more base damage against the front line also, and taking out characters like the Brigitte or the opposing Cassidy also. But it's going to be a beat ready from the attack. They're just going to go in aggressive with it.
Yeah, and it does a lot for them. They manage to take out the front line, and really there's nothing that Ambition have to respond with it. They were close to that copy, but because they had to switch up so much of their composition, they were really behind it in terms of their ultimate.
Yeah, and you know, they'll have the barrage as well. Now, it's feast or famine, that ultimate, but you can get a lot done with it. Oh god, okay. Sushi dying in that respect. You can't let it happen, especially when they're one of your ults that you're kind of hoping on, especially with the point getting to that final corner there with 3 minutes on the board. It's going to be an orbital right before Volg as well, since Graveyard is at 90% to it.
Yeah, there comes an early copy from Sushi onto the Mauga, going in for that slam, and immediately taken out.
Oh.
And there's a barrage to just settle it even more. Vari gets a good trade, though. Juicy out of the fight. That's not as much maneuverability for the team, but they're going to go forward with this high noon anyway, just to rub salt in the wound. Geo, 2.5 minutes, nearly pushing on to this final objective with a pretty healthy looking time bank.
Yeah, and it's going to be Orbital Ray nice and early here. Good high noon to like create some space, but the cage follows up immediately.
Good anti-nade onto Sky Sniper, able to take them out. But Barcode is just cleaning up on the Cassidy. That's 3 in this fight. A clean headshot, making themselves known as the hit scan of this lobby.
Good save, because it was looking like they might actually lose that fight. That cage did a lot to like delay the impact of the Orbital Ray. And it worked out for a moment, but not when the Peacemaker is landing headshots like that.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at 2 minutes on the time bank, and you kind of played your card with the Reinhardt, and it did work for a moment, but you know, you're up against the Pharah as well. Not exactly an easy composition to match into. And since we did see them swap onto the Mauga, I'm expecting to see more of it come out. They didn't really have a great fight with it, and I think a lot of it is because like they were already trying to stop the snowball from rolling onto them from the very beginning of swapping onto the composition. So they never really had like an equal start. Now they will. So I want to see more out of them in terms of like rolling with the ultimates and trying to get into like a good kind of groove. Now, obviously, we are looking at probably them playing like the proper meta with the Reaper versus the Cassidy. Cassidy becomes a lot weaker, right? No Wraith form, no TP, only a roll. Becomes a very weak point in the composition. Essentially is your glass cannon. However, we know that that glass cannon's well stocked with glass cannonballs, and they have been shredding. So it's a bold play, but it might just work for them.
Yeah, it's a risky play. Like you say, you don't have as much survivability without that Wraith form. You're really relying on Barcode to win in this duel against Sushi, or at least help the Echo duel and really put a lot of pressure on the supports as well. Already going this actually position. I like this positioning as well on the high ground there from Tio. Not going to allow Sushi to get any presence up there. Already forced to kite back. Vari isn't a very position here.
Oh.
Yeah, gonna get taken out.
Yeah, Vari drops the microphone and ends up back in spawn, and a little bit too spread out, I would say. I think you want to see a little bit more focus, and I think a lot comes from it, like not having the Brigitte means you don't have that sustain, you don't have the pack for Sushi, and you become a weak point, right? And even more so than a Cassidy. And Vari is like, you know what, fine, if you're playing head scan, I'm playing head scan. Just decides to match it completely, which I understand they're a head scan player, they will do that, but I think it's a missed opportunity in recognizing how weak Cassidy is in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely the squishiest in terms of the heroes they're running right now. Already a lot of damage, and you can just see this fantastic focus fire. Aereo is down before they can even walk through the main objective. Good anti-nade to try ward them away, but not much you can do when your tank falls.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah, I think second place is a good moniker for Vari, because first place looks to be solidly cemented. Running into so many ultimates as well, like they're so comfy here on this defense.
Yeah.
There's really like only one big mistake can go wrong here. Starting with a big sleep, that's one way of doing it.
Oh, and a big anti-nade. That's what you like to see. Andromeda opening their team up for a fantastic fight. Good high noon takes them out, but yet again, the side of Ambition are so split. They lose their front line, they lose their tank. Another big nade. Andromeda is doing everything they can, but their team is not giving them what they deserve in that follow-up. Really tough to see, Gio.
Andromeda sleeps, and anti-nades from another galaxy landing brilliantly like a UFO of pain. Did open it up, but it just still wasn't enough because of the ultimates levied by the defense. Does mean this really should be a fight win here. 90 seconds remaining on this first point. You want to be seeing them win here since they have both support ults.
And this is all to play for here, Gio. If you don't manage to make this first point, you are losing a match in this Swiss stage. You're going to be so much worse off coming in out of these qualifiers. Good kite, quite a good kite. They still have a lot of ultimates if the other team tries to charge. There goes the nano onto Aereo, and there the high noon is completely disabled by that bash from Ducio. Cage thrown out there as well. Sky Sniper not able to really see it to its fullest as they do fall in that fight. Under so much pressure, this backline. Cap still comes through up in the air, but Chaco and Barcode are just cleaning up on this front line. A little bit too aggressive. And yeah, possibly a little too aggressive. There's a good recontest and a regroup here from Ambition.
Yeah, with 30 seconds there, I think at this point, the different levels to this game has been put on full blast, and even if Sky Sniper on an off pick here of the Doom is still looking to get the picks here. Of course, they do need to be touching the point.
Okay. Never
okay.
mind, I guess they'll just try and win the fight anyway, though, Gio. Don't you worry.
Well, I guess we're not counting Ajaxes, but we're definitely counting C9s, and that was one of them. They should have been touching the point there, and they forced them back onto spawn. They really just extended the match rather than giving an opportunity.
I think using this choke though, coming into second point, these streets at the alley, the out three alleys, it is a little bit easier to hold there. Good nade though to open things up and allow Ambition to actually push out.
And now you have some momentum, right? It's not a whole lot, but you can work with it, especially with the fact that you're coming up to all 5 of your ultimates. You have a good position. However, talking about it's still an ult-heavy meta right now. You cannot be walking into this and using 4 ultimates. You need to, at most, use 3, especially if Beam comes out. You're definitely going to be using more than just the 1 to try and match the effectiveness of what the Beam can give. I want to see a nice levied fight here from the side of Ambition.
Rampage ready to go. Here it comes. Taken with this anti. It's huge. The nano onto Aereo isn't even necessary, to be honest. But yeah, that's exactly what you want, Joe. 2 ults traded for that solo.
Oh my lord. Aereo with a beautiful Rampage. And just swipes the board with it. It's what you want. Now you're going to have Beam in this fight. You've got High Noon to slow them down if you need it. You're in a brilliant position, and this is what I mean in terms of like creating that snowball for yourself.
Exactly. Sky Sniper coming here on the Queen, and not really a lot from Capybaras to use when coming back on. Although, you know, you could just kill everything in the neutral, Chaco. You could just do that. Good trade, though. Very fine to pick. But with Andromeda down, you don't have a lot of sustain. The Solar Beam can do that for you. But with Ducio so close to this rally, in the long term of this fight, it's going to be a big struggle.
Yeah, and you can't be losing fights where you have Beam, the opposing team don't. That's 2 ultimates used against, to be fair, a rally by the end, but like, it shouldn't really be happening. That should not be happening. And with 15 seconds remaining, can they even touch? Is anyone going for touch? There's 10 seconds left. They're so far away. Are we going to see just another C9 here?
I think we're going to see Sushi going for this touch. A good opening pick. And yes, Sushi does manage to get the touch by them. But at this point, everyone's already been taken care of. Volg a couple picks in the kill feed. Love to see a bit of sport popping off like that. I think this match is all said and done, Gio.
Yeah.
And it's been a really, really good showing from the Capybaras. So concise, so clean. And, you know, barcode, LIII, lines, whatever you want to call them, on the hit scan. Really, really showing why they're the star player.
I mean, just like beautiful precision, and you'll see it again here in the play of the game. Just gonna be hitting every shot. I think this is like the play that actually saves it, because this was being won out by the defense, but it was purely off the back of like getting the orbital rate damage, just getting that one tap there that like works so perfectly for them. And yes, you're gonna have one-sided games, especially in 2-0s, right? But like Capybara have just put their the Capybaras have paused been their paw gauntlet down and saying there are levels to this game,
Yeah.
and they have cemented themselves a team to look out for. Stacked roster. We expected this
Right.
from them. So now we're thinking, is this a team that might just get all that money, all that Swiss franc in the end?
Yeah, no, very good chance. Like you say, really strong roster, and also I think a very good strong hold on what the meta is, and really good at figuring out their own variation of it. I think you put barcode on that Cassidy, I think a lot of the time you're gonna be doing okay. I think you can really still have a lot of effectiveness into the Reaper. Even though Cassidy is obviously a lot more vulnerable. Sora with Twisted Minds, and hey, you can apply the same kind of methodology here.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of good Ana plays as well. Ana's not exactly someone who's like a strong contender in like the high tier meta outside of the dive compositions, but you're seeing anti-nades win fight, you're seeing sleeps win fights, or at least they should win fights. You know, you're seeing a lot of that come out from flex supports here in the Anas, and it's a good reminder of how strong those abilities are from that character when used correctly, and it's beautiful to see. So we may be getting an interview, we may not. We'll wait and see what happens in the wind. We might be getting to speak to Graveyard from Capybara, but we'll wait out and see. So 2-2-0 so far. I would say it's probably expected in a first round to get 2-0s.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you're expecting. If you get a 3-map series in a first to two on the first round, then you've hit gold, I would say. Not the rank, obviously. None of these players are gold. I'm probably gold at this rate. That's how washed I am.
I'm nearly there as well, to be honest. Yeah,
We have to get back on the grind. Get back on the
we
face
gotta,
of grind
we've gotta,
for
yeah,
next year.
clearly, yeah. We'll make it to WCS Geo, not as casters, but as players. We got this.
Yes, I also know other pipe dreams, but let's talk to a player who's much more likely to make it to that level. We'll be talking to Graveyard as they've joined the beast. Hello and welcome to the Discord. He is muted.
Oh.
Okay, well, this is a one-sided interview where we get to talk to our interviewee and they can't talk
They
back.
can't talk back.
um, I can't really ask any questions. We'll just waffle on until this is sorted.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about like an MVP, obviously we're awarding like an official one. Like, who are you thinking? Because that's a difficult one to choose because all the players on Capybara did so well.
I don't know, man. That's a little too difficult for me. I think I'd probably have to give it to Barco just for the pure mechanical prowess. Like, it's just a bit ridiculous how strong. But also, I think Sky Sniper as well, very, very flexible. Played a bit of the ball and actually looked pretty comfortable, pretty like Ilios is actually one of those maps where you can confidently run the ball, and it's not just we're being the other team, so we can ball because we're better than them. Ball's actually a pretty good pick there, so nice use of that. Good monkey, good a bit of queen, bit of Malga, very flexible overall. So
I'm surprised you didn't say the Ana player. I'm surprised you didn't say Graveyard.
I mean,
Who like definitely like that was a lost fight on Ilios well, and suddenly it wasn't. Like
yes, yeah.
like
Yeah, that was
you
that
see
was
you see that
insane.
from like the best players in like Shu, where they can sneak
Yeah.
in and nade from like up close. All right, I feel.
Oh, I can speak.
Oh,
Can you speak now?
there we
Hello.
go.
Yeah, hi.
Amazing.
Well, welcome and congratulations on being able to speak. Um, First of all, congratulations on your match. I think I know the answer to this one, but did you have any difficulty in that one?
Not really. Only difficulty is that our tank player isn't able to come here, so Skies are one of our damage players, and he was on tank. But yeah, it was pretty easy.
I was gonna ask, we saw Sky on tank. They didn't do it too badly. Is tank something that's in the arsenal of Sky?
Yeah, he's a pretty flexible player. He's played a lot of the roles in the past, so I think he's pretty comfortable on it.
Yeah, we definitely saw that. We saw you play Anna a bit more than like we have seen in other like matchups here. Is that a preference for yourself, or do you think you found like a point in the meta where you can still get the Anna and get use out of like the anti-nades and such?
It's definitely a comfort thing. I also think like Ana's current spot in the meta is like compared to like Juno. Juno's like flat, like consistent value is like way higher than Ana's. But if you hit your skills on Ana, like your nade and sleep, like Ana will do more. It's just inconsistent. But if you have confidence in yourself to be able to hit those CDs, like I think it works pretty well.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw a lot of general flexibility. I mean, obviously, the play we were talking about as well. Actually, also, this is a good question. How is it pronounced? Is it I? Is it barcode? Is it blinds? How do you pronounce this play name? Barcode. Okay, so I got it. Okay, I was right. Okay, good. I had a feeling that it was a bar. Okay, good. You know, you guys looked really, really comfortable on a lot of compositions. Is flexibility something that you guys, as a team, pride yourselves on? Is that something that you guys is normally in your guys' know-how?
I mean, we haven't really played much together. It's our first time as a team, but the core of us, I mean, normally our tank, Monkey Happy, he wasn't here, but we do play on our own team in NA, but we are very flexible. I think it's something we can really leverage in this tournament. I think everyone can play multiple heroes to a high level.
Especially like on ping, right? Like,
Yeah.
You guys are playing on ping, right?
Yeah, everyone but Barcode is, if I believe I'm right.
Yeah, because Barcode's from Switzerland, so
Yeah.
damn. I mean, to have such a one-sided match and then also be on ping like that is impressive. Have you had a chance to look at who's on the other teams? Is there anyone that like looks like would be a bit more of a threat to you guys?
Can we be honest? Like, I don't really know who most of these people are. This isn't my region, and I just don't know the names. There's like a couple like I think I've heard of, but I've never even played against these people. So like, there's nothing to be scared of when you don't like know their level at all.
That's fair.
Ignorance
As
is
an
bliss,
NA
yeah.
player, you're just coming to EU to like put the final nail in the coffin after OWCS.
No, stop! No! Oh man.
We will get our revenge. EU will be on top again at some point. Maybe not right now. We'll get there. We've got some work to do. Before we say goodbye to you, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to make on stream?
No, I don't think. I think I'm good.
Nice. Go ahead.
Fair enough, yeah.
Concise, confident, any looking to invade this EU tournament and prove us all frauds again. Thank you for joining us, Greg.
Right, thank you.
Okay. Does it feel good that an NE team is just coming in and just winning? No. I'm getting shades of OWCS again. If Space Station Ents can't do it, I'm sure one of the other EU teams in this tournament can.
We got it with... Yeah, surely. We can't let them beat us on every single tier of play, guys. This is a little too... It'll be way too embarrassing.
We've got teams. We've got Enter Team Name. I'm sure Enter Team Name will to give Capybara a little bit of run for their money. But alas, that is us for the broadcast today. A quick two matches, but this is only the start, the primer of this weekend, because there is a whole host of content to watch and to divulge in. Being covered by Joker's Ransom and Spectrum tomorrow, and then in the Fletch and Megalas on the Sunday on the English broadcast. The games will get better and better as they move on, and of course Sunday will be the playoffs, so you're going to be definitely looking for that. It's going to be a very busy day from around 1 CET to around probably like 9, like
probably
8 to 9. So a full day of Overwatch on the Sunday as well. A lot to watch. Put in your calendar, sit back and relax. But from us, myself and Crumble, our return cast together, it's been lovely to be in the little rectangle box next to you again after literally being next to you in Sweden. But that's us for the first day of the Switzerland series. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't go too far. Don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. Good night.